Hello, my name is Brian Morton. I will be presenting this week's Current International Business Environment presentation. I'll be reviewing an article from The Economist titled Tearing Down the Bamboo Walls. There's a link below in case you're interested in reading it. In reading this article, I found instant parallels with our international textbook. Namely, they both chose to intro with stories about Chinese taxicabs. While a lot can be gleaned from taxicab drivers, in China, a lot can be learned from the taxis themselves. For example, in Beijing, cabs are mostly Hyundai Elantras. In Shanghai, likely Volkswagen Tourans or Passats. And in Wuhan, they are commonly Citroën Elises. The reason? The foreign market entry strategy of each of these car manufacturers was a joint venture with local state-owned car makers. Joint venture entry strategies offer a large amount of control. However, they come with substantial resource commitment, they offer limited flexibility, and come with some of the highest risk among entry strategies. However, in this case, the risk was well worth it due to local protectionism. Protectionism is the economic policy which grants preferential treatment to local firms and ultimately hinders a free market from operating. In this specific case, it negatively affects other car makers and even local consumers who will pay higher prices and have less options. Local protectionism in China extends even to other provinces within China and dates back to the mid-80s when trade wars broke out in various regions. These trade wars created economic warlords who divided up China into dukedoms, which were protected behind bamboo walls. This was from a book, Mao to Market, from Andrew Wiedemann. These bamboo walls are created by the enforcement of rules which are customized with the requirements only local firms can meet, or rules on items such as safety which are only enforced to outside firms. In one documented case, authorities granted priority access to freeway express lanes to locally made cars. Efforts by China's National Development and Reform Commission have recently documented similar issues in hopes that publicizing them will discourage similar practices elsewhere. Some of these examples include requiring fertilizer companies to test products at local institutes, or in some cases, companies required to give trucking routes of unfamiliar roads before getting their license. Private mining companies required to collect stamps of approval from 7 local departments, which were always withheld because they didn't understand the company's background, unless, of course, it was local. The NDRC hopes that exposure of these barriers will curb malpractice elsewhere. A study done by the University of Pittsburgh revealed that when borders and reigning local governments were removed to be joined with other counties, GDP per person increased by 12.6%. Recently, efforts to tear down these bamboo walls have become imperative as China looks inward to solve the current trend of lowering GDP. This is due to recent global financial crisis, trade war, and the pandemic. Foreign markets just are no longer reliable for China's ambitious growth goals. China is attempting to steer their current growth model away from Da-Jin Da-Chu, or big in, big out, meaning importing vast quantities of commodities and exporting the similar amount of finished goods. Instead, to right the sinking growth, they are calling for a national unified market. Chinese officials also reproached market segmentation, repetitive low-level construction, and vicious competition in investment promotion, setting a tone of ending local protectionism and knocking down the metaphorical bamboo walls. What does this mean to our incumbent local car maker? Likely being exposed and unprotected, facing competition for the first time on their home turf. However, A big worry is local protectionism will persist despite the urgings of the Chinese officials. Which brings us back to why selecting the appropriate market strategy is so important. While these car makers may have found a niche when signing a joint venture with locally protected territories, as societal shifts occur, they become filled with risk and with lack of flexibility. Thank you.